tell me about Black Katy. What would her situation be like? Like the evil version of Katy. Does everything you do, but like evilly.
I feel like it would be like kind of rubbish evil stuff. Like, you know how they would put like the milk in the tea before the
Oh
water?
No.
Yeah. They
Black
would, like,
Katy.
Yeah. They would like always try and get on the tube before people have got off the tube.
No, Jesus, I hate
Yeah.
Black Katy. She's the greatest anti-hero I've ever heard of.
Like just really rubbish things that like are really annoying, but
Yeah.
it's not like I'm doing like murdering. I'm just doing really annoying stuff.
But so far, I find you more morally ambiguous and challenging than Black Adam.
Like standing on the left side of the escalator.
Oh no! See, so far I really am struggling to relate to you.
Cutting in line. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god! Just
Be
the
like-
worst kind of
Yeah. Just like silently evil, you know.
evil. Silently evil is the tagline. Hello and welcome to One Good Thing, the podcast that doesn't waste words on the dead. I'm Tef Paul, and we are continuing our short odyssey through the worst films of 2022 with another visit from my dearest, oldest, Katyest friend with a Y. It's Katy Maydon.
Hi, I'm back from last week. Remember me from literally last week?
If you skipped Firestarter because, well, I don't know if if you're the kind of person who skipped Firestarter, you'd probably skip Black Adam as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you skipped Firestarter but you're here for Black Adam, you've got problems.
You've picked this the wrong way round. Because yes, Katy joins us for only our third DCEU movie after Suicide Squad, and indeed our very first episode, Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice Extended Edition. Yeah, this film was released 6 years later than that, and it's even worse. It's Black Adam.
These powers are not a gift, but a curse. Born out of rage.
This loose cannon needs to be locked down before innocent people start getting hurt.
He's been asleep for 5,000 years.
You find us a cell that can hold him, we'll take care of the rest.
Who's on the team?
I didn't bring a passport.
You don't need passports. We're the Justice Society.
There's a war going on outside. We ain't safe from.
Black Adam.
We're here to negotiate your peaceful surrender.
Heard about at least 3 killings this afternoon.
I'm not peaceful. Nor do I surrender. Here we go.
Hi. We're sorry.
And thank you for listening. This was a long time coming for cinema. It's all tied into Shazam, of course, because Black Adam is typically one of Shazam's bad guys. Although, I must say, I've never really read DC Comics outside of Batman. I've read a lot of Batman, but not a lot of any other part of DC.
Yeah, I've read some like Harley Quinn and some Joker, but yeah, again, that's like Batman.
Yeah, the Batman stuff. I've read the graphic novels, basically, The Long Halloween, The Killing Joke. Like, if it gets grouped together, No Man's Land, then I've read that of Batman. But rarely does, Supes or the Green Lantern show up in this gothic world of crime. I'm Batman. I can summon whatever I like as long as it's green. Yeah. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out. And I've never read, like, the Batman in Justice League stuff, because that always just felt odd. Where it's like, we've got to face off against a demigod who commands all of the forces of nature. I'll get my batarangs.
Yeah,
it's
like
not my aesthetic.
Batman is like a David Fincher hero, kind of like moody, and like he could if he appeared in like the film Zodiac, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. I'd be like, oh, it's just Batman.
I mean, that's basically the Batman, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
Except like neither of us were big fans of the Batman.
I need to rewatch it because now that I look back at it as essentially being Seven but with Batman in it, I really need to re-explore that.
I mean, I would have been okay with that.
But yeah, I don't know about any of this is the point. But apparently the guy in the red suit with the lightning bolt, who is the main character in the Shazam movies that we've seen, confusingly, his name is Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I've heard this and I'm just very confused about it.
I'm very confused. So obviously DC have struggled to use that legally and just logically, because you don't want people showing up expecting Brie Larson. So getting Zachary Levi, which is the worst possible outcome.
Switcheroo, yeah.
So they've wanted to make a Shazam movie since the early aughts. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was approached to play Captain Marvel, aka Shazam, in 2006, but also was interested in playing Black Adam. And I would love to see that as a dual role, Johnson on Johnson.
Like when Eddie Murphy played like
I think JCVD has done it a couple times.
Yeah,
I think...
played like two characters in one. Yeah.
Or Will Smith in Gemini Man, that classic of action cinema.
I didn't see it, but I heard it wasn't great.
No, but I did hear it was Ang Lee. And I have seen a very serious, studious documentary about Ang Lee try to put on a very straight face and talk about Gemini Man, which was good fun. The production stalls and is next heard of in 2017 when they want to make Shazam a movie, but Johnson is a big deal by then, so they don't really want him in a supporting villain role. They want him in a lead role. So they decide to split the movie in two, Shazam and Black Adam, and then have them meet in the future, having made a movie of each of them. Very much like Glass, the M. Night Shyamalan experience.
Spoilers for Glass and, you know...
for Split. Spoilers for Split.
Split, yeah, and... Yeah.
And also just the cinema of 2017, I guess. Yeah, there were plans to introduce Black Adam in The Suicide Squad before James Gunn got involved and decided to make a much better film. The film is written by Adam Stidle.
Did they get him because his name is Adam?
Yeah,
they were just like, let's just have everyone
we
called
need
Adam.
Someone who can relate to Adams. Who knows
Adam's
what it's
everywhere.
like. Who has lived an experience so we don't get the Adam lobby going after us. Yeah, it's written by Adam Stidle and Rory Haynes and Sohab Noshivani. And Haynes and Noshivani have previously only written apparently good film, The Mauritanian, and a TV show called Informer. But Stidle had previously written Due Date, Alvin and the Chipmunks 2, The Road Chip, and so is a two-man, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul, the fourth film in that saga, and he went uncredited for that one, so he draws the line somewhere. Rampage, where Dwayne Johnson punched monkeys, and Scoob. So I think I might have spotted the weak link in the writing team.
Oh, God. Though I like Diary of the Wimpy Kid, though. I like the books, and I've never seen the films.
You haven't seen the films, specifically the fourth film?
No, I haven't. But the book is good, so...
Okay. There is hope yet. This film is directed by Helmer Collett Serra, who impressed The Rock Johnson when he directed Jungle Cruise. But he's also directed Liam Neeson in Unknown, the hilarious January Jones adventure, and 3 transport-based action films with Liam Neeson. Non-Stop, on a plane, The Commuter, on a train, and Run All Night, on foot.
Wow. I mean... Run All Night is not really like a like I guess feet are
I haven't seen it,
but like are they transport? This is like a conversation about the Plane series, you know, like how the first one's called Plane, the next one's going to be called Ship, and how they should just get shitter as like it goes on.
That's right, Plane.
Like,
the Gerard Butler thing.
Yeah, the next one should be like Bus, and then it should be like rickshaw,
skate,
and it's a skateboard or something.
Yeah, I can't wait for that series to continue. God, Ship, that's amazing. But this guy is better as a horror director.
Okay.
Because aside from the risible House of Horror remake with Paris Hilton, although I do know someone who loves that movie, so I will reserve judgment, he has directed fairly good horror films, Orphan.
Yes.
And The Shallows, the Blake Lively shark thing.
Oh, okay. I never saw that, but I heard it was actually really good. And I love Blake Lively in general.
Yeah, and she's so hot in that movie.
She is so hot in life, and she's married to Ryan Reynolds.
She is, and we met her.
That's just, like, so hot in general. You know, like, the whole coupling
It's a hot
thing.
situation.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Also... We met her.
We did. Well, we were in a room with her and Anna Kendrick. That
means
good.
we met them together. It was. I remember them being really flirty with each other. It was. That might just be my imagination, but my most profound hopes. But yeah, it was the premiere for Simple Plan.
Yeah, which was really good.
Yeah, it's a very good film. Anyway, back to this. Colette Sarah described Black Adam as the Dirty Harry of superheroes. Or what, they weren't fascistic enough for you already? He says, everybody knows how the world sometimes is not fair, and you need people to break the rules to even out the playing field. Okay, so this is going to be different from all the law-abiding superheroes we're used to. You know, the superheroes who work really closely with a perfectly incorrupt justice system in order to achieve sustainable growth for society? All of those?
Yeah, all of them.
Well, he also revealed exclusively that the black in Black Adam refers to his soul. Oh, shit.
Shit.
That's why he looks after children so much. Filming and post-production both got delayed by COVID outbreaks, so it wasn't all bad.
You suck.
I know. But even the end of the world couldn't hold it back for too long. This absolutely hideous movie was shot by the guy who shot Joker and all of the Hangover movies.
But Joker was beautiful. I mean, it wasn't like my favorite movie that year, but it was, it was pretty, like in the bleak way.
Yeah, I think so. So that is surprising. And I assume the Hangover movies are similar.
I haven't seen them, but I've heard the first one is actually pretty funny.
I heard that the first one is generally seen as pretty funny, the second one is seen as completely pointless, and the third one has split people right down the middle. Like, literally split them in half.
Split them in half, and then the goo comes out. And
that's right.
Yeah.
They needed to do reshoots, but the studio was being occupied by Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is fair.
Fair. And I'm very excited for that, which comes out next week.
Woo! To be honest, it would have been fair if they were shooting an Andrex advert. Like, sorry, Dwayne, we got to shoot this dog knocking over a tower of Legos. We've got too many puppies here. I understand. I think you'd understand.
I think you would. I've seen the bun bag.
I think you'd be on board.
Yeah.
Due to the gruesome deaths, this movie received an R rating. Oh boy, maybe this will be the darkest... Oh no, sorry, they edited it down to a PG-13 after that and said they were sorry, very, very sorry.
Oh no, that would have made this film watchable,
something.
Which it was not.
It would have made it something. It would have given it a raison d'etre. But as it happens, the film was received by critics like their powers were not a gift, but a curse. Sometimes it feels that way as a critic. Such are our gifts. The ability to be shitty is about a movie. Richard Brody at the New Yorker said very eloquently, "There's something morally deadening and aesthetically depressing about the bottomless toy chest of CGI being reduced to the toolbox of cinematic bureaucracy. It's no less numbing to find material meant for children retconned for adults, and in the process, for most of the naive delight to be leached out, and for any serious concerns to be shoehorned in, and then waved away with dazzle and noise." I mean, yeah, that's quite eloquently summarizes what I'm going to spend the next hour trying to get out.
But with me periodically going, I hate you for making me watch this.
That's fair. That's what Richard Brody lacked. He then told a story about Jerry Lewis, saying that in the 80s he went to a movie of his in France because they love him in France. And it had a title that was like Smorgasbord, but they just released it in France as, "You're crazy, Jerry." That was the title they gave it.
You crazy.
"You're crazy, Jerry." And he said that this movie could have just been called "You're a Superhero, Dwayne." Because people have a similar relationship with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now, Peter Bradshaw, on the other hand, actually gave it a 3-star review because he's insane and you never know where you are with him.
Bradshaw, what are you doing?
Bradshaw! I think it's just because he's in love with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. It's basically what I got from his review.
So am I.
So are we all.
am a massive fan of Attitude Era WWE when it was still WWF. I have a t-shirt
when
with
it was
Mick
still
Foley
the World
on.
Wildlife Fund.
And I love Dwayne Johnson. I really do.
Yeah.
He could not save this movie. I'm sorry.
Che Guevara once said that all revolution comes from a place of love. Just because we want better for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson does not mean that we are anti-Johnson.
That is true.
Public, meanwhile, well, it's a DC movie, so it's going to have its inexplicable defenders. Peter Dickios over on Google said, "There are differences in geographical settings, character development, and values of the superhero. It does not take place in North America. The people are brown. They have accents when speaking English, among other differences to the usual superhero fare." It's well observed. Peter Dickios. Thank you. Thank you for chipping in. Worth checking out because it's weird. People speak with accents. Another Google reviewer, Vividzi Kelv, commends this film for not pushing LGBTQ plus nonsense and indoctrinating children into their selfish and wrong agenda. Please go and report that, dear listeners. It's the 8th review down. There's a little function where you can report it for being hate speech. Also, is it worth telling him that the actor playing Cyclone uses they, them pronouns?
Yeah, I think it might be worth it.
I
Yeah.
think it might be worth getting in touch with this douchebag and pointing that out.
If anybody wants to start a fight on Google reviews.
It's us now. Look, not all the fans of Black Adam are naively racist or outright homophobic. I assume. I didn't look at any others. Not all DCEU fans, guys. Just most. Just the most apparent. Patrick Sabongui is a Sabongui. Is a threeman. Played Tufts in The Predator and Sucker Punch. So it's good stuff there. More interestingly, we have our third Viola Davis performance after Suicide Squad, of course, but also Eat, Pray, Love.
Wait, hang on.
Huh?
Wait, hang on.
She played Waller. The woman
Viola
who
Davis is
appeared
in this movie?
What do you think?
I think this loose cannon needs to be locked down before innocent people start getting hurt. Oh, and good morning to you, too.
Shove it up your ass, Carter.
Yes, she plays Amanda Waller. She's angrily on screen a couple of times, demanding that people sort things out. She's like the linchpin. She's like the Samuel L. Jackson. Oh my god.
How did I not notice Viola Davis?
I need to come back to that.
In this
She's like
movie.
She shows up and she's like, Hawkman, put your team together. And then in the post-credit sequence, she's like, I'll send Superman after you.
I did not watch the post-credit sequence.
There you go.
Probably because I was watching it online and I thought, oh, great, the credits. Bye-bye now. Can close my screen.
Yeah, that X button does. It's tempting.
Yeah, whereas you saw it at the cinema, so...
I did, and I
You
had
knew it
time to
was
kill
there.
before the next movie, which was
Yeah.
The Woman King. So I got to see Viola Davis in a way, way better film.
Fair.
So,
Oh, free to a man, free in the bush, free, yo. Films are shit, mate.
the film has 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, 41% on Metacritic, and bombed spectacularly. However, it does have 72% on Google and a
Google.
Rotten Tomatoes audience score of 88%.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it
How?
does. Never come at us with The Last Jedi's audience score, people.
Oh my god, seriously.
The audience score is a nightmare. But look, the movie lost money, so I have reason to
I'm
doubt it.
happy with it.
Yes. So, Katie, you Kent Nelson.
What? Why am I Ken?
You're Kent Nelson. What have your powers given to you? Nothing but heartache. By which I mean, well, you didn't recommend this. What was one thing about this movie that made it worth watching?
I really like oh, it's so hard. No, I have one. I really like Pierce Brosnan's eyes. They are
Oh, God, he's
so
dreamy.
blue, right? Like
They're blue as the Irish coast.
they are so blue. Like this kind of almost like
The hills,
exactly in the
Katie.
middle blue. Like not sky blue,
man.
not dark blue. They're like they're beautiful.
Oh, majestic.
Yeah, made it worth it. I didn't.
Oh my God.
That was a lie. But yeah, that I saw his eyes and I was just like lost for a second. Like, I love you, Pierce
be-
Brosnan.
You could be watching any of Pierce Brosnan's good films, like two of the Bond ones.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite Bonds.
It's actually tricky. When
Don't
you
really
do
like
start
Bond
thinking
that much though. She says,
How do you
having
feel
seen
about-
every single Bond for the
my
last
God.
like 10 years.
How do you feel about Mamma Mia?
Didn't like Mamma Mia.
Damn, it's a
No.
tough world for Pierce. But that's how charming this man is he's made such an enduring presence, despite the fact he's been in 2 good movies. He's probably been in more. If I think harder, I'll think of the 90s. He's in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, that's a good movie. Yeah.
I enjoy that movie.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's find out if this is his third good movie, because we're going to go through what happens in Black Adam. God help us.
Okay.
We start in Wakanda, an ancient civilization that's been taken over by an evil dude. He's evil because the camera goes all the way over him so that he's upside down, like his values.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What is it actually called? This place?
Oh, no, it begins with a K.
It begins with a K. I mean, it's like, hey,
Karat.
we're not Kawanda. We're not
Yeah.
Wakanda.
It's-
Wakanda,
it's-
but we are.
It's Kawanda. And so, yeah, he makes a powerful crown with minerals that he's mined through slave labor.
And they're called, like, eternism? Like, eternal?
Yeah.
Like how in Avatar they call it, like, unobtainium.
Oh, unobtainium. Yeah.
And it's again,
God.
like, a writer went, let's just call it that, and we'll change it later. And then they just don't change it later.
Well, to be fair, this might have been established in like a comic book from the 60s where they will have been writing 3 issues at any given time.
Yeah,
so
true that.
all of this legacy is built on very overstressed individual animators, and I think that's worth remembering. Illustrators. Anyway, at this point I do have to check the movie to make sure it's not on fast forwards.
If infused with the powers of the 6 demons of the ancient world, it would make Acton invincible. To make the crown he needed Eternium, a rare mineral of magic properties found only in Kandak. So he enslaved his own people and forced them to dig.
But I needn't have worried because the ridiculous slow motion does bring it down to an almost normal speed.
Oh my god. There was one slow motion moment where I was like, that was... No, why was that there? I don't...
Because it's 300. We all remember 300.
I
That was the last.
love 300. Don't start me on 300, okay? 300 is a great movie and I'll defend it on this podcast if you need me to.
That may have to happen at some stage. Anyway, the oppressed people of Clay World rally behind a brave young boy. And he's about to be executed, but gets given the Shazam powers of bland CGI.
Oh my god.
And he's going to wreak havoc with it. All right, look. Prologue done. Cut to the modern day. We've got the Smashing Pumpkins, so presumably we're going to have a nice kind of mellow... Oh, fuck me, more exposition.
The world is a vampire.
Today, Kandak is occupied by international mercenaries, the Intergang, the latest in a series of foreign invaders.
Yeah, more exposition.
We can learn stuff by watching.
This is also where I first wrote down, did they seriously just say Shazam? Because it sounds so out of place in this, like,
It comes
kind of
from somewhere.
gritty
I know, right?
backdrop thing. And I'm just like, no, they're going to keep saying it, aren't they? Spoiler, they do keep saying it over and over again.
It's the special word you have to say to get your powers.
It's like
not our fault.
abracadabra. That's
I
how
know.
stupid it sounds.
But I think it did come from DC Comics. It's just it then spent a good 60 years only in comic books, and so it became a very cheesy thing.
Exactly.
It didn't have the
But in comics,
gravitas of a Richard Donner movie to make it serious.
in comics, you're allowed to be like, Shazam! You know, like...
Yeah. Or in better movies with better tones.
yeah, true.
So yes, the modern, vaguely foreign country is dominated by colonial powers, the most notorious colonizers of our modern world. Australians. The Empire Builders. It might have been a South African accent, to be fair. He says like 5 words, so it was hard.
I was unclear, but I was just like, I'm just going to leave it in the
Yeah.
abstract, whatever.
I think that's what they thought as well, as long
Yeah.
as it's not Americans. That's too close to home.
Yeah.
So,
Or the
a
British,
little boy...
who are notorious colonizers.
Yeah, that could have been that too. And now, current enablers of the new colonizers. We can give you lots of tips and handy firearms. We got your back, America. We're sorry we're not in the EU anymore. Please don't use Ireland instead of us as a stopgap. Please, please, please. We need your heavily medicated beef for our restaurants now. So, a little boy reads out a high school essay that the screenwriters wrote so that people could say this movie has themes.
Now go on, piss off.
No, what you are is a neo-imperialist enforcer
From halfway around the world,
sent here to steal my country's natural resources,
strip mine our sacred lands, pollute our water,
oppress our heritage, and make us wait in lines all day.
He calls a bunch of police officers neo-colonialists, and it's like, you see? They thought about this.
Yeah. Deep.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's
deep.
very deep. So there's a gang of freedom fighters with the boy. The only 2 notable ones being Comedic Relief and the lady. The other 2 are red shirts.
Yep.
Yep. They arrive at some kind of tomb. And hey, you know how The Mummy 1999, you know what that movie was really missing? Is just cutting straight to the tomb and getting past all the character moments and subtle world building.
Yeah, I really think that there's almost sometimes too much character building. And in that, you know, just... Do you really need to know about character motivation and have any kind of world building, really? Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Oh, it turns out you do. Well, I mean, you do if it's Rachel Weisz and Brendan Fraser. If it's whoever these two are, maybe not.
I don't know who the lady is, but I'm going to call her not Eva Longoria. Because she looked like Eva Longoria, but it's not Eva Longoria.
Which is a shame. She looked like Tomb Raider to me. She looked like the modern Tomb Raider. Anyway, bad guys show up.
Yep.
And cause trouble. But the heroes find the crown they were looking for, that crown the king was making, and they summon Black Adam. Because, later on it'll be weird that these two things are in the same place.
I was a slave until I died. Then I was reborn a god. I kneel before no one.
He awakens, and it's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and he's a bad guy, we're told. And he turns everybody into CGI goo and kills all the bad guys whilst the lady gets away with the crown. So the bad guys very, very, very quickly put a small army together to confront Black Adam, the Dwayne Johnson, and Rock the Dwayne Johnson. He kills them all. My God, his indifference to human life truly is terrifying. Oh my God, it's painted black by the Rolling Stones. Oh,
yes,
fun.
I noticed that.
This is like a Zack Snyder sequence because of the really on the fucking nose music choice, the slow motion nonsense, the ugly cinematography, the tonal inconsistency with awkward comedic relief, and my utter indifference to everything that's happening. Yay! I hope that every action scene in this is like this, and that action sequences are every other scene.
Action sequences were every scene in this movie. Honestly,
Yay.
I felt so action fatigued by the end of this that I was
So it'll be like a John Wick film.
I need to watch like a really slow film after this, or just like some ASMR or something.
I need to watch Brief Encounter after this. But one of the characters says, "Did he just catch a rocket? Oh wait, are we meant to be impressed by any of what he's doing? Because it's been instantly unrelatable, right off the bat."
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
None of this has any context or relation to things that a person might do that would be impressive. It's a video game at this point. But he gets injured somehow. I can't remember how that happens, but he flies off towards the horizon and then falls directly down to Earth in front of them, because nothing means anything in this. There's no visual language.
There's no meaning.
But yes, now the West is afraid because this, new evil hero has awoken. So Amanda Waller, Viola Davis, calls up Falcon, Falcon from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, who assembles a team consisting of Storm, Ant-Man, and Pierce Brosnan as Doctor Strange.
He's like Ant-Man / Spider-Man because they're trying to make him like the young...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the young kind of funny one-liner Tom Holland, along with Ant-Man, who can get big and small. Though he can't get small, he can only get big.
He can only get really, really
big.
But
this is the guy who is the boyfriend in To All the Boys I've Loved Before.
Ah.
And that is a great movie series, especially the first one. So when I saw his pretty face, I was like, cool, I'm glad he's in this movie. And then I instantly regretted that because he was terrible.
Oh, no.
But I was like, they're trying to basically
agreed.
make him Spider-Man, right? Like,
they want a young, mouthy guy on the team.
Yeah.
You need that in a dynamic. So they all meet at Professor Xavier's mansion and then take the X-Jet. And they take the X-Jet to Wakanda. Is it obvious enough that I'm implying that Marvel has done all of this before? Because...
I didn't realize. That's what you...
Oh, God. So Black Adam has passed out and he wakes up in the boy's bedroom with no... And then, has no character moments whatsoever before starting a new fight. And the score is relentless throughout this entire sequence. Because one moment of silence in this movie, and the algorithm says that our intended audience will go back to TikTok. We can't afford a second of decent pacing.
That is actually... I'm not even joking. That is actually what it is. Like, we need the teenagers to stay engaged with this, because they will go back to TikTok. Though I did watch like 5 minutes of a guy washing a rug earlier on YouTube. So like
during this,
like the 30-year-olds also need constant stimulation.
It's true, we're all sick now, but I'm glad that there are movies like this to accommodate that. Also, they are trying to do a Terminator John Connor thing.
Oh yes, of course.
Of course, which really just shows what an incredible performance that James Cameron managed to get out of Arnie.
Arnie, who owns a tiny donkey that lives in his house with him. Let's just put that out there.
That's important context. The boy gets into some trouble, so he appeals to Black Adam to save him. But kid, it's too early for that. He's not a hero yet. He's only had one 3-minute talk with you, and he's got all these complicated issues and a really violent and indifferent nature towards mankind. And, yeah, your mother's going to have to figure this out for you because he's not... Oh, there he is.
Oh,
good
no,
now.
he's going to come save you. Yeah.
Yeah, he's defender of the downtrodden.
I think the kid's called a man, is that right? Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think that's right.
That sounds like the sort of thing that you might do. The movie has the absolute gall to invoke Sergio Leone. And, suitably enough, absolutely massacres an Ennio Morricone piece in order to do it. And then there's more nonsense. And then the Avengers arrive. In order to face off against The Rock Johnson, they shoot a bunch of CGI at each other until Black Adam flies away.
And they're called the Justice
Justice Society of America.
That's it. Because I was like, okay, so this isn't the Justice League, this is the Justice Society. Why?
We're legally not allowed to call ourselves the Justice League.
Why?
They're the community support officers of the superhero world.
Why did they use the word justice? Just call themselves like something completely different.
It's a really cynical business model, but they're hoping that people will accidentally call them when they're after the Justice League. Justice, no. Sorry, was that Justice League?
What did you say? You need justice? We've got justice.
We can do justice. We've got Pierce Brosnan. Oh, okay. Sounds all right. So, yeah, the themes of the movie being overtly laid out for a second time, and, lots and lots for the defenders of this movie to fixate on, which is good stuff. Lady then finds Black Adam and decides to deliver some more exposition in place of character development. And it turns out that Black Adam did exactly what he was supposed to in the past, but did so in a slightly grim manner, and so the wizards punished him and imprisoned him.
Oh, that's why the wizards, which have only just been mentioned, punished him.
They were. Yeah, they're a Shazam thing. They're all wizards.
Oh, God.
I'm afraid. Yeah, this is
I'm
not...
so happy that you didn't make me see Shazam.
That's fair. I'm just really glad the second movie has made it even more unnecessary for me to say good things about the first one, because there were good things, but not enough to justify any of this. Anyway, the bad guys come after the crown, and so Black Adam saves the boy again. He's not the hero, guys. He's a very scary, unpredictable villain. Incidentally, what I just said, the bad guy come after the crown, and so Black Adam tries to save the boy, that took 15 minutes to do.
Yeah.
That took 15 minutes of flying around and making that happen. I think I need to watch a Michael Bay movie, because I hate Michael Bay, but I do remember his stuff being less mind-crushingly bland than this, so I might need to reaffirm that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a Michael Bay movie, but I actually think maybe I would have preferred it to this.
I think maybe Transformers 2 may have gotten too bad a rap.
Oh, do you know what? I have seen the Transformers movies, so I take it back. I've seen Michael Bay movies.
Oh my god. Anyway, the bads get away with the boy. Bads with the boy. But they're able to... The Justice Society, who are now working with Black Adam, managed to find out where he is.
Good on them. Good work.
Which is really impressive they're working together, because there is the whole dramatic tension of the movie. Hey, stop killing people. No. Scintillating.
I had a tear in my eye.
Isn't this the tale as old as time? Why can't we put our differences aside and see both sides of the perspective? Oh, Christ. The heroes throw more CGI at each other until they find the crown in the boy's room. Oh, we got it. Good. It's time to go off, save the boy. And oh my god, it's Kanye West's Power. I love that. What a contemporary piece of music for this scene. Hey, what's Kanye up to these days anyway?
Getting sued. I read this morning.
Who of the many people who should be suing him is suing him?
So Adidas, I believe, are suing him.
Because he came out as such a fucking weirdo after publicizing their product, and now I'm mad about that.
Something to do with Yeezy. Honestly, I read the headline and was like, there's so many other things I care about more than Kanye.
I'd have read the headline and just been like, yeah, makes sense, and then just kept
yeah,
going.
Basically that was essentially me. But there you go. That's what he's up to. So good on Adidas, I guess.
good on that, and good on this. The Rock Johnson hilariously catches a bullet before it kills a boy, because just his face. There's very good face work in this sequence. And then he kills literally everyone.
Yep.
Oh no, he fucked up the boy a bit in the process, I think, although I don't think that comes up.
No, it doesn't come up. No.
No.
Everyone's fine with it.
Twist time. The Rock Johnson wasn't that heroic boy from the beginning. He was his father.
Yeah.
And the son gave him the power that he had so that his father might use it to kill the king and overthrow the empire.
And then
but
he dies.
after the son died,
Yeah.
and so that he got really mad and he killed the king and overthrew the empire, but in a bad way.
As opposed to overthrowing the empire in a good way, which is what his son wanted
Yeah.
him to do.
He was a dick about it, and so he's bad.
Yeah, so you can overthrow an empire, just don't be a dick about it, you know?
Yeah, don't be a dick about it.
Don't be a dick
everyone.
about it.
He was really mean and he didn't say anything cute whilst he was doing it, so...
Yeah.
Prison forever. So Shazam surrenders his powers and is taken to an underwater prison, which is a perfect end for the movie, teasing his possible future release in a future movie, perhaps in like a 48 hours Silence of the Lambs style situation where they need a villain to understand a different villain, so they let him out and form an uneasy alliance with him. But yeah, anyway, that's for the next guys to figure out because we're done. We've ended this movie. 90 minutes. Woo! We are out of here, folks. Oh, okay, we're back with the team teasing the next movie and the dynamic between them. Oh, yes, Pierce Brosnan had a vision about that guy's death. Okay, great. We can resolve that in the next movie. Oh, the villain isn't really dead. Cool, he can be the bad guy. Good. We're done, though, right? We're done. We can go. I'd like to go, please.
I'd like to go. Oh, no, there's 30 more minutes of this movie.
No! There's a whole other act to this movie. Why?
Right, because they had more action sequences that Dwayne wanted to shoot.
Oh, no.
He'd been working out a lot, so...
He has.
I mean, he does. Every day.
I so don't want to recount this. The Avengers try to fight generic evil man, but it doesn't work. And Dr. Strange Brosnan sacrifices himself, and I want to highlight the score in this moment as just being the most truly fabulously generic thing you could possibly imagine.
Honestly, this moment was supposed to be the big, like, emotional, oh my god, Pierce Brosnan's, like, sacrificing himself moment, and I felt nothing. Zero. Absolutely nothing.
No, who are you? But look, it's to no avail, so he summons the Rock. But now he has to get out of this super secure prison in spite of having none of his powers except incredible strength, speed, and lung capacity, it seems.
And, like, he can fly.
And he can fly. So while Brosnan monologues, we were wrong about you. The world doesn't always need a white knight. Sometimes it needs something darker. A Black Adam. Absolute nonsense.
Such nonsense.
Some zombies show up to very little effect. Comic relief guy gets involved. He's back, yay. And Black Adam shows up and defeats the bad guy, saves all the civilians and the young guy. Oh, what a villain. What a complex man.
Yeah, and all the civilians are like, yes! And there's this really
Yay,
terrible scene where they're all going, yes! And I'm like, why are you guys all just standing around in the street? Like, why? Do you not have, like,
well, there was
stuff
a zombie
to
attack.
do?
You do gather. People tend to gather.
Like, just in the street?
Like
or...
There've been a lot of really loud explosion noises in the last half hour.
That's
so
true.
I might. You've got to stop work.
Because when I hear loud exploding noises, I don't shelter. I go out into the street. Just
see what's going on.
Know.
So Black Adam and the Falcon make amends. And
Stop calling him the Falcon.
He's the Falcon, goddammit.
What is his actual name? Sorry, I don't know DC.
Hawkman.
Is that his... That's not his actual name. Don't tell me
like
Hawkman. That's hilarious.
I think it's Don't say Hawkman to me right now. I think it's Hawkman. Doctor Strange is mourned by the only guy who had more than 5 lines of dialogue of him. Lady justifies the use of unaccountable violence to solve political issues.
Yep.
Luckily, the bad guys are always really obvious.
The kind of justice you dish out can darken your soul.
It's his darkness that lets him do what heroes like you cannot.
And Black Adam promises to look after everyone and save puppies and old ladies and that forever. Yay. There's a post-credit sequence.
Oh, I didn't see it, so tell me all about the post-credit sequence.
Amanda Waller is there and is like, if you leave that country you're in, then you're going to be in big trouble.
Wait, so I missed another Viola Davis moment just because I didn't watch that. Great.
Yeah, she was there and she said, you don't leave your city or, we'll stop you. And he said, "There's nobody on Earth who can stop me." And she said, "I can call in a favor from someone who's not from this
Oh
Earth."
no, it's Shazam, isn't it?
No, it's not Shazam. Probably should have been Shazam, but there's a crash, and Henry Cavill's Superman steps out.
No, not Henry Cavill Superman.
It's been a while since anyone's made the world this nervous. Black Adam. We should talk.
His first appearance since the Justice League, and his most recent one to date.
He's like 50 years old at this point.
He's 55 years old, and
is that real? Is he actually
no,
55?
I have no
No,
idea.
he's
He
no way
probably
Henry Cavill was 55.
There's no way he's 55
I'm looking
years old.
it up.
But yeah, it teases a clash with Superman that probably isn't going to happen because apparently nobody likes making these movies except Zachary Levi, but nobody likes working with him. Wait a minute. Amanda Waller can call in a favor from Superman? I thought hating Superman was literally her entire... Oh, who cares?
Henry
Also,
Cavill is 39. But he is
54, you say?
No, he's 39 years old, but he's going to be 40 on the 5th of May. So if this is released this week, happy 40th birthday, Henry Cavill.
God bless you for not making too many of these. And for using your powers to much greater effect in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and... What was the other one? Mission Impossible.
And also being beautiful.
Fallout.
Like, he is,
and also being beautiful.
really pretty.
I feel like he's problematic, but it might just be that he's with Gina Carino, who's super problematic. Also, it's hilarious in this that they introduce him with John Williams' theme and not the Hans Zimmer theme. Because, hey, does anyone actually remember those movies 10 years ago? Or, no, we better use the Williams one. Paul, are you sure you want to delete? You've paid for this rental and will not be able to watch it if you... And I'm just hammering the yes button.
Heroes don't kill people.
Well, I do.
What did you think of Black Adam, Katy?
I'm going to make a really bold statement, Paul.
Oh, no, you loved it.
I think this is potentially the worst movie I've seen in like a decade.
Wow.
Like,
what was like 10 years ago that was worse?
I don't know, but there's got to be something. It's probably the worst movie I've seen since I started making my spreadsheet, which was, I think, 2014. So nearly 10 years I've been keeping my every film I've seen spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And I think it's the worst one. Honestly, it's so boring. The tedium is just awful. I had to pause it several times. And I had to go out to my housemate and be like, I'm still watching this movie. And he's like, you've been watching this movie for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I have. Because I paused to play some Zelda. So I didn't die of boredom. And you had to watch this in the cinema where you can't pause and play Zelda.
Dreadful. It's really one of those times when I've been very close to just wanting to just walk out of the cinema. Like this, unusually, the next time that really palpably happened was Shazam 2. So, there's a problem with this little mini universe here.
And I'm thinking back to all the other superhero movies, and I was thinking about Ant-Man, the most recent one that we saw, which honestly was terrible, but it was better than this.
Yes, it was.
This was so boring. There was no character development. There was no world building. There was no humor whatsoever.
Yeah.
There was no...
Oh, God,
every time they said the word Shazam, I wanted to cringe. Like, I was just so cringy. And Dwayne Johnson, who honestly I love him in wrestling and I like his movies. Like, I really liked Jumanji. I thought it was fun.
Yeah. Well, that's the go-to one, right? Because it's the most probably critically acclaimed of his films.
Yeah, but I liked
Jumanji
some of it.
movie.
I saw the one where he's like up a skyscraper. Is it called Skyscraper?
Oh, yeah, it's called Skyscraper.
It was dumb, but it was fine. It was Dwayne Johnson. He had his shirt off. No point in this did he have his shirt off. And I was like, what's the point?
Oh, I think maybe, but when he was super skinny.
And I was
when
like,
they used the CGI to make him skinny.
Honestly. I really, really hated it, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's usual stuff for me. Hideous CGI, grossly incompetent filmmaking, and just absolutely no care given to plot, character, or scenario. Movies like this ought to, at the very least, be good for some fun action sequences, but there's just nothing to be gained here. Who is impressed at this stage by CGI characters flying around a fake brown environment, shooting light at things to no effect?
Yeah. The CGI was so bad. Like, it's impressive CGI, but it's so bad.
That doesn't mean anything.
No,
anymore,
it doesn't.
I feel like.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
everyone can do impressive CGI now. It's just bad.
If all of the powers you show your superheroes using don't really affect anything, i.e. they're being used on a superpowered individual who doesn't seem to be affected by it, it just makes it look like nothing. So, standard modern blockbuster stuff from me there. But there are two things I wanted to discuss in particular. The first is this idea that Black Adam is different from other superheroes because he is an anti-hero.
Yeah, because they'd never done that before in superhero movies ever.
Exactly, yes. In my Jen and the Film Critic review, I gave this long list of all the other movies that claim to have had an anti-hero in the lead role, but in fact never had the guts to let its main character actually do anything morally dubious. And this is just one of those, because Black Adam, he kills faceless bad guys, usually in comic relief sequences where people go, fuck, before they then get, killed. He never does anything that might risk the audience's sympathy with him. And whilst also proving incapable of actually generating that sympathy for any charm or charisma, I have to say, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is leached of his power in this.
He is so wooden. He's so wooden. And he's playing it like that because basically Black Adam has been like frozen in time for, how long is it, like 4,000 years or something. And that he's trying to do the thing where it's like, I don't understand the modern world, I'm being wooden.
Yeah.
But no, he's just wooden. It's awful. Yeah. And it's not that funny wooden that Keanu Reeves does. You know, the kind of...
No, it's not deadpan humor like not. Peter Bradshaw claims.
It's not.
Yeah.
He's a psychopath. Peter Bradshaw is a psychopath. I want to meet him and be like, what is wrong with you?
I met him. He was a frightening man to me. All superheroes act outside of the law. The distinction between killing and not killing is really hard to appreciate when action sequences have been so bombastic for the last decade. Like, the Avengers kill people all the time. They even based one of their movies around the fact that there's too much collateral damage involved in their vulgar climaxes.
Yep.
Like mine. And you'd have to go much harder to invoke a sort of Conan-style adventure movies of the 1980s, like Deathstalker, or the vigilante movies of the 1970s, like Death Wish, in order to create a hero that would actually challenge audiences' sympathy with the main characters and make you question whether their moral authority is correct. You know, The Dark Knight has more in common with Dirty Harry than this.
The Dark Knight series in general, the Christopher Nolan Batman series, are genuine anti-hero vibes. Like,
yeah, moral ambiguity.
So
is it
much.
Right that Batman is doing all of this? You know, there are parts in that will make you feel genuinely uncomfortable.
And that's basically the end of The Dark Knight, is him going, I'm not doing this anymore because it's morally ambiguous. Basically.
Yeah, I've lost myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the consequences of what he's done then become fully felt in the next movie. It's just... anyway, that brings us to my second point, which is the DCEU. How many of these have you seen?
I have seen half of the first one, the Batman versus Superman.
That's the second one. Man of Steel was
Oh,
first,
I did not see that. And that is it.
Really? Half of Batman versus Superman?
Yeah, so, I mean, name the others and I'll tell you. But obviously I saw The Batman, but that's not...
Oh, no, that's not part of the universe.
That's not part of the universe, so...
Wonder Woman?
Oh, yeah, we saw that together.
Oh,
okay, so yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we
what
have. Yeah, okay, so I saw the first Wonder Woman, and do you know what? It was good.
Yeah, no, the first one. Okay, so here you'll be able to get it from my sort of little rundown of this, because my history with the DCU is well documented. I did not enjoy the Snyder stuff, which is Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and Justice League, and also that first Suicide Squad movie, because they all kind of pulled together and in a very dark and ugly way. Then Wonder Woman was good.
Yeah, we definitely saw that together and it was good. Yeah.
We did. In spite of Snyder's involvement, it was good. And then after Justice League, they started doing their underwhelming MCU knockoffs with Aquaman and Shazam.
No, I didn't see either of those, despite Aquaman being, Aquaman.
Just bland, just nothing. And then two surprise hits and highlights of the franchise, Birds of Prey and The Suicide Squad, both of which I really like. And now we're back to consistently missing the mark with Black Adam and Shazam 2. But the future is we're due a reboot. We're getting The Flash coming out, and then I think a second Aquaman, and something called The Blue Beetle, whatever that is. But after that, we're due a reboot. carried out by James Gunn, who is going to keep some characters and get rid of others. Some sort of alternate universe thing, I think, is probably going to be involved. And the thing is, none of these films work very well on their own, except perhaps Birds of Prey and The Suicide Squad, which are good movies, or a really cool Harley Quinn double feature.
Yeah.
The rest of these movies spend all of their time desperately trying to trade on the emotional weight of intertextuality, gaining value from the other movies that they're drawing from, hoping that they will then become stronger than the sum of their parts. And it does seem to work with some fans, because there is footage of obnoxious crowds whooping when Superman shows up at the end of this movie. So for some people, it really is just enough to see a guy from one bad movie show up in another bad movie. And that's just a substitute for quality. It's the epitome of the most loathsome part of modern corporate filmmaking, and all the worse for actually achieving some success. This is like Marvel without even the rudimentary basic competence that Marvel often achieves, except Quantumania. And even the basic quality of having a future, potentially better adventure teased in this movie is massively undermined by all the behind-the-scenes drama that's going on, because Henry Cavill wants out. Warner Brothers want to replace him. Johnson isn't interested in being involved in Shazam, especially now, and nobody knows who's actually going to be here this time next year. Half their cast is cancelled now due to various controversies, and it's just impossible to get even slightly invested in where all this is going.
I don't really understand people who are like DCU fans and not Marvel fans. And I've got a friend, one of my best friends, is a huge DC fan and doesn't like Marvel. And I watched like the old Marvel movies, like the, when I say old, I mean recently I sat down and watched Infinity War and Endgame. And
that's not old.
No. When I say old, I mean like
X-Men 1.
I mean like pre everyone dying in Endgame.
Okay.
And I'm like, this, like, I cried multiple times during Endgame.
Yeah, it has some very emotional moments.
And I'm like, this is what's supposed to be happening. And then I watch something like Quantumania, and I'm like, what happened? Like, is it just like superhero movies just lost their way completely? Is it like the whole genre is like falling apart?
I think this is too short to a shorter time span to claim that. But yes, it has been rough. But then again, it wasn't that long ago that we were all gushing over No Way Home.
That's true. I did like No Way Home. And this week is the release of Guardians 3. So let's hope that that will give me some hope back, because it does look good. And if anything, we'll get a banging soundtrack.
And unbelievably, No Way Home is... The Flash is also getting good reviews. It'll probably have another little resurgence, but there is definitely something of a fade here. But then the problem is, it's now even tiresome to talk about superhero fatigue, because it's been such an issue for so long. So, I don't know. This for me, this particular film, Black Adam, is something of a nadir. I really do hate it. But that makes it very appropriate for the show. A good thing. Because some people do like this movie. It has an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't know how to take. And presumably it's somewhat disingenuous, because it did flop massively. However, let's just try and get into the positive side of this soulless piece of marketing for a product that's rapidly becoming defunct.
Okay.
And we can start doing that by quick firing.
Okay.
Quick fire.
This movie my first quick fire is this movie opened with Bullet with Butterfly Wings, which is a great song. I was like, yes, Smashing Pumpkins, amazing, and also it had other good tunes in this.
It did have
as
some
mentioned
good tunes.
already in your rundown. So I was happy about that, because sometimes music can at least help you break the monotony of a film up.
What's amazing, though, is how short those musical moments are.
Yes.
It's almost as if they wanted to avoid copyright thing, because, what is it? Is it Bullet with Butterfly Wings that plays?
Yeah.
Yeah, it plays like 5 seconds of it. And the same with Kanye's Power later and Paint It Black and the Ennio Morricone track. It's like they don't actually want to try and do an Edgar Wright or a James Gunn and actually try and set the action to this music. They don't have the skill, and probably music supervisor never met the director or the whoever it is who's putting the action sequences together, because that's probably not the director. So there's no communication going on across here. So it's ironic that they're quoting Ennio Morricone, because of course he used to actually be on set when the films were being directed in order to have that direct influence. There's no sense of that here. But no, you're right. And yeah, I love Bullet with Butterfly Wings. That's from Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, which is one of my favorite albums. The opening had some good aesthetic. The clay mines when they were working, and there was a 300-y vibe to it, and it did somewhat evoke the sort of, I don't know, feeling of an epic historical movie, which is good.
I liked the cars.
Okay.
In the like modern setting. They were all like vintage and cool kind of colouring, like pastel-y colours. They look like the kind of car that you get. And only people that play Animal Crossing will get this, but when you buy a car in Animal Crossing, this kind of like vintagey style cars. And so whenever you got a shot of a street, I was like, oh, all those cars look like they had a really well thought out like theme with their cars going on, and I really like them.
That's good stuff. Yeah. Watching the movie and seeing how they shot the beginning, the dad twist is quite good. The idea that we think throughout the whole movie that he's a young man who is corrupted by something that we haven't been told yet, and it turns out that no, actually, he was the dad.
Yeah,
the whole time.
That was good.
Of the messianic little boy at the beginning, and we just didn't realize it. And now his anger is justified as being the anger of a parent, sort of mourning for the child who got lost, and that's good.
Yes, I didn't mind that. I liked the moment when the not Eva Longoria character lady kind of took the Justice Not League to town and was like, where have you been?
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's what I wanted from the Eternals, you know, like when everyone's like, where were you when Thanos was here? And they were like, oh, sorry, we can only fight dinosaurs. I'm glad that she was like, where the fuck have you been, dudes? Like, I wish there'd been more of that. Yeah. Like, she could be, I wish she was more pissed off, basically.
Yeah, because what's the resolution to that in the end?
There wasn't any.
It's the typical thing.
They were like, oh, soz, and then just carried on with the action because they hadn't had an action scene in 30 seconds.
Yeah, what is it my new favourite film reviewer said about this? Richard Brody. Where was it? In the process, for the most naive delight to be leached out, and for any serious concerns to be shoehorned in and then waved away with dazzle and noise.
Yes, that's exactly what I just said. There was just another action scene where they were like, oh, sorry, but we had other things to be doing. And then,
And they drop things about, colonial, sentiments and the idea of America the Liberator, but then drop the ball by entirely ignoring the fact that America is far more likely to be the oppressor than the ineffectual liberator. If we're still talking about the idea that America is the world police and that they inflict too much collateral damage, that thinking is around 20 years out of date. Now it's more likely that you're living in a state that is being sponsored by America and that the regime that you're living under is being sponsored by them for the beneficial oil rights. It's a different conversation that needs to be had, but nevertheless, even the one that they're having is, ineffectual.
Yeah.
I like the idea that Atom Smasher is second generation. It's very sort of Watchmen, the Alan Moore graphic novel, not the Zack Snyder movie. I like the idea that, he's inherited his costume. And I love the fact that the uncle, the original Atom Smasher, is Henry Winkler in a little cameo. That was good fun.
How's my suit? Does it fit?
No, yeah, it's perfect. Thank you again for letting me borrow it. I used to watch you all the time as a kid. This is literally the only thing that I've ever wanted.
Yeah. Don't let anything happen to it. It's vintage. Don't let anything happen to you either. Don't do anything crazy. You listen to Carter.
I'm gonna make you proud, Uncle Al. I promise.
Having the Fonz on the phone.
And on that character I mentioned earlier, but I'm glad that this actor is in this because he is adorable. He's in To All the Boys series, and he could potentially have had quite a good like Spider-Man, Ant-Man thing going where he's like the comedy but actually like amazing at what he does kind of thing. Unfortunately the writing was bad, but he did what he could with it and he's cute, so that was cute.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of actors we like, I really like Pierce Brosnan in this. I think his look is good. I like his manner and his demeanor. His costuming is really good, but also just the nature of him. I like him as a superhero, that he's got this weird helmet that literally possesses him, although we didn't get much of a sense of what that means.
Yeah, the writing was bad. So
the writing was bad is the issue, but he was doing a good job in a very limited role. And I liked his little story about seeing his first airplane taking off from an RAF base. And it's like, that's cute, and it connects you to a sense of childlike wonder. It just makes you think, an airplane taking off when you've never seen one before. What a little moment of spectacle that would be, and how hollow is all of the spectacle of the rest of this.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just such a shame because, as you say, as you alluded to very subtly throughout this whole thing, Marvel did this with Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, he is Doctor Strange. He sees the future, and there's like, oh, I don't see a future where this happens anymore. And it's like, oh, we did that in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just such a shame because it could have been like quite interesting if it just hadn't been done already.
Yeah.
So one of the things I wrote down was, where is the humor? Because in all superhero films, even the ones that are really dark, like Batman, as in the Christopher Nolan Batmans, there is some humor, right?
Yeah.
And there's no humor in this, but there was one joke which could have been good.
Suppose they didn't have doors in your day? Well, of course we did. That's how we entered rooms. What I did there is called sarcasm.
Which would have been funny if they hadn't followed it up with Pierce Brosnan going, that was sarcasm. Just leave that line out, and then it would have been funny. Like, don't overplay the joke.
No, they hung a lampshade on it for sure. But later on, when he says, in fact, they do it again, because later on, when he flies two men out and then, almost kills them, he said,
You said you wouldn't hurt the prisoners. That was sarcasm. Technically, it was just a lie.
And that's quite good in and of itself, but then Brosnan says, actually, I think that was just a lie. And it's like, again,
just leave that line out.
Yeah,
leave that line out. And the thing is, he didn't say the sarcasm line with any humor. So it didn't play well anyway. But still, you're right, they should have, not, like, followed up, like, overplayed the joke, and it might have actually been a joke.
Yeah, another joke they allowed to go on for too long, I think, was the teaching violence joke. Where the whole thing is, I'll sample it, but it's the whole thing of,
I appreciate what you did for me, but I do not want you teaching my son violence.
I understand. You want his father to teach him violence.
Gross, that's my brother.
That's my sister.
His father's dead.
I'm sorry. Who do you want to teach him violence, then?
Yeah, Mom. Who do you want to teach me violence?
It just goes on for a line too long.
Yeah.
Oh, I did quite like...
My point is, you could be famous. Magazines, lunchboxes, video games, and the superhero industrial complex is worth a lot of money.
I don't need a box for my lunch.
That's all my quick fires.
Oh, okay. I've got a few more. Okay, Quintessa Swindell playing Cyclone, I think, is very beautiful.
Oh, she is.
They have a really...
Yes, she is.
They have... I think it's they. They have an incredible smile.
Yeah, they do.
They're just, really amazing. Final thing, an action beat that I actually liked is in the prison when he breaks out of his cell and people attack him and there's too much Zack Snyder slow motion and it feels quite dated, but there's some actual moves in there and the water makes it quite dramatic. It actually felt like a fight scene between some stunt performers, and that is not something you got out of the rest of this movie, so
which is a big
I have to appreciate that.
It's a big shame because massive part of Dwayne Johnson's life has been performing action sequences. Literally, if you watch his, late 90s, early 2000s wrestling career, that guy is an athlete. He's a wrestling athlete. Why did they not use that? Like, he could have done so much that would have looked realistic, because that's what wrestlers are trained to do. They're trained to make what they're doing look realistic, and sometimes it is real. Like the amount of times that people have been injured, like, because it's actually real.
No, but I think the number of times that they've actually cinematically captured that in film is fairly rare. Like, I remember one of his first films, which was called The Rundown or Welcome to the Jungle across the, overseas. That had him doing some good physicality and being involved in some good fight sequences, some of which I remember. But generally speaking, it's weird. Although he's in a lot of action movies, like, if I Google, the best Bruce Lee fights, the best Jean-Claude Van Damme fights, the best Jet Li fights, I'll get results. Am I going to be able to find a list of the top 10 Dwayne Johnson fights in movies? That's not really the kind of action star he is.
No. Which is, again,
it's
a
very
shame.
odd.
like in general.
It is a shame.
Yeah, because like he really has great physicality because he's an amazing athlete and he works very, very hard to keep his physique up to where it is. If you ever watch videos of Dwayne Johnson talking about what he does every day, he gets up at 5 so he can work out for like ridiculous amounts of hours, that kind of thing. And also, Dwayne Johnson is an incredibly nice person. And I hate that I'm talking this way about him in a negative way because I like him as a person. But honestly, this movie couldn't even be saved by The Rock. So,
yeah. I have found a list of good fight sequences he was in. But again, the number one is still The Rundown in that movie I just mentioned.
Yeah.
So, you know, then there's something... Oh, yeah, The Fate and the Furious ways then with Jason Statham. A couple of good moments, and then it's The Rundown at number 3. So it's really, and then Fast and Furious at 4, Rundown again at number 5. I hope. No, Furious 7. So it's Fast and the Furious movies and The Rundown essentially that seem to represent the bulk of his actual fighting sequences. But anyway, that is going to do it for us here at OGT Manor. Let's see how the OG team have responded. Hopefully, they will have done so verbosely. Okay, a couple of people like the fact that we're subjecting ourselves to Black Adam, but nobody has actually come forward to contribute anything about it. That's fine. Let's try Facebook. Jen liked it here as well, so Jen's very happy about the fact that we're doing Black Adam.
Yeah, I saw her yesterday and she was like, haha.
She was the subject of my last rant about this. So, the subject, the recipient.
The subject. I would like everyone to know that I was periodically texting Paul, asking him why he hates me.
I know, it was...
And when your best friend hates you, you've got
as...
problems.
As you were doing that, I was watching it, and I really was reflecting on whether or not this was something that needed to continue in this podcast. Is it necessary at this stage? Okay, Patreons, you are our last hope. Yes, we have some comments. Ooh, we have some comments. Love
Ooh.
this. Okay, yes. Luke Ciancio says, I am enjoying this confluence of Jen and the Film Critic and One Good Thing, making Paul watch the best films of the modern day twice in short order. Thank you. Yes, so am I. He then replies, I don't know if I will get to finishing it before you record, so, good things. I like Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate outfit. Agreed. Dwayne Johnson does stone golem physicality of his character quite well. I know what you mean. He seemed statuesque.
He does. Yes, he does. And there was one shot of his butt that was pretty good. So I was happy about that.
Good. The film hints at some seemingly very interesting comic roots to the characters. Yes, okay, this is something interesting. I like the way the Justice Society of America fucking thing continues on the Suicide Squad thing of everybody has a weird origin story, but you're not going to get into it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this guy got cursed by a wizard. This guy was part of a scientific experiment. It's fine. Just everybody's here, okay? We don't need to have flashbacks. We can just go on from this point.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that, actually.
I don't know. I think it would have added to it, though, like being like having a bit more of that because I was so bored.
Oh, what? Of just different powers, or like hints at the huge universes behind each of these characters. Maybe.
I'm so bored.
But not flashbacks. I wouldn't have enjoyed that. And to finish, I liked Pierce Brosnan in it generally. He had some gravitas and made the most of his lines. That and the nightstick bending around Dwayne Johnson's head with a little pock had good comedic timing. Made me laugh. Good stuff. Thank you very much, Luke Ciancio.
Thank you, Luke.
Yay. Okay, let's talk about the one better thing. The one better thing. Mine's just the Suicide Squad, because it's anti-heroes, but genuinely, you don't know if they're going to do the right thing. Like, there are just points in that movie where you just have no idea if any of them have the moral integrity to actually see this over the finish line, and when, things happen, it's almost a nice surprise. That's what you want from an anti-hero. You want them to be unpredictable. You want to, basically know that they're going to do the right thing in the end, but you want to genuinely have moments of doubt. That's what made Riddick so exciting in Pitch Black before.
You're about to say Pitch Perfect, weren't you?
That's what made Vin Diesel's Riddick so exciting in Pitch Perfect.
Acapella madness.
Yeah, is he going to come rejoin the band just before the big performance? You don't know with that guy. That's what I love about him. That and his crazy see in the dark eyes. Katie?
So, oh my god. So I was sitting here trying to rack my brains about something that wasn't a superhero movie because I was like,
oh yeah,
Iron Man's better than this. Captain America's better than this. Captain America's quite a good example, right? Because he's like from the past.
Oh yeah.
So it's
yes, he's a good parallel to Pierce Brosnan's character.
And you know, Doctor Strange because it's Pierce Brosnan, and then I was like, Batman because he's kind of an anti-hero. But I was trying to think of something that wasn't a superhero movie. Because I was like, is there a movie out there where it's somebody who's like got kind of frozen in the past and woke up in the future and had
Encino Man,
and then had to like ingratiate himself into the future, and it's not really the same thing because it's actually future to past, but I guess maybe Terminator in the way that he's like the physicality is quite like, you know, he's a robot, which is kind of almost what Black Adam is. He's kind of like a stoic figure, and he has to work out the time he's in, you know, because it's a different time to the one that he was previously in, I guess. But yeah, I mean, like, also all of those superhero movies that I just mentioned are just better than this. Also, any movie is better than this. I'm never going to watch this movie again. Like, ever. No.
I'm relieved to say the same.
Thank God.
Unless there's another fucking podcast that somehow requires me to do this.
Just don't watch it again. Just listen to this episode.
No.
Like, honestly, last week we did Firestarter, which probably was the worst movie of last year. No.
Yes.
But this is the worst movie of last year. Like, I would rather have rewatched Firestarter, and that is saying something.
I think that's true because at least it's shorter.
It's shorter.
And less boring.
And it had some gore, which always makes me like, okay, good. I can see something gross. That's fine. This had nothing for me. Absolutely nothing for me. And that is
agreed.
A big statement, but there it is.
Yes.
And you owe me a good film. In fact, we're going to the cinema tomorrow, so there you go.
Well, yeah, exactly. So hopefully... Oh, and yes, and I know what we're seeing. So yes, tomorrow will more than make up for Black Adam, I hope.
Thank God.
The one better thing. Okay, folks. That's going to do it. So, yeah. Stick around here at OTT Manor. You can see, you know, more Katy in last week's episode on Firestarter, and also various episodes from our past. And on Screen Mayhem, you can find some of our previous podcasts that we have done together. And yeah, Quest Fantastic is out there. We've got a Patreon here. All the good stuff. You know what to do. Stay cool. I'm Paul Cool.
And I'm
Cool Paul.
Still here from last week.
Remember, the one good thing about Black Adam is Pierce Brosnan?
Yeah, just go with that.